Do you ever have those days where you feel like actually the worst climber in the world? I do, all too regularly actually. I'm distinctly average when it comes to climbing, I reckon. I've bouldered to the like 1.7C. I've done up to 8A plus on sport. And don't get me wrong, that's a decent level. I'm happy with where I've been. But especially when you push yourself, like I do, have high standards for myself in all walks of life, and especially as well when you come to crags, wherever they be in the world, but especially like here in Spain, everyone's climbing hard. They're not, loads of people are climbing super easy stuff, but it feels like everyone's climbing hard, and I just give myself the hardest time in the world. And I had one of those days here at Malda last week. I felt rubbish warming up, and even this morning coming and pulling onto a 6A, it might be a 6A plus or something, it got shut down straight away. But today is going to be a better day. When I was here last week, I came to try this Font 7A problem. It's more of a route really. I'm not sure what grade, but it's more of a sport route around 7C, because it's about 30 to 32 moves long, depending on quite how you do it, something in that region. That's a long route. I've done a lot of sport routes, trad routes as well, shorter than that. So the Font 7A kind of doesn't make much sense. And there was even, I turned up thinking I'm going to tick this 7A. That's never a good move for me. When I come expecting to tick something, that normally ends badly. I think frustration is kind of when expectations don't meet the reality. And when I think of that phrase frustration, I kind of think the reality is something you can, if you look at it properly, work out and know if it is a real proposition. So that 7A, for example, that should have been a reality, like it could have been a reality, but I just didn't get it. And then I start to think like why I didn't get it. That's the important bit. Otherwise it's so easy to get just, absolutely annihilated mentally, and just to have a bit of a meltdown, and then you can't redeem yourself really. Today I came back, I've just warmed up on a problem. I've pulled onto the end bit, which I couldn't even do that end bit the other day. I didn't get it first go today. It took me a few goes, but then eventually I got it and figured out the beta. And it felt pretty steady really. I don't like the word easy in climbing, because it's all relative, isn't it? And it almost feels like you're setting yourself up for failure. And this conversation really is about head game stuff, isn't it? I didn't have good tactics either. When I turned up, I did a couple of problems to warm up, like I said, and then I just started trying to do the traverse. The traverse, like I say, is long, starts over there, stays lowish, keeps going, it's about halfway, keeps going, and then to where the pads are, and up there to finish. And I almost tried doing it like ground up style, which is just ridiculous. It's such a silly thing to do. Today, I'm going to have better tactics, and that was part of it, having warmed up onto this couple of steady problems, doing that end bit. I find that when I'm working a sport route as well, because as you probably know, I do more route climbing than bouldering, if you work the end and kind of almost come backwards some of the time, it's really important. Otherwise, the end is often the hardest bit on a route, and this boulder problem, like I said, is a route, because you're just knackered at that point, so you need to know that end bit. So today, tactics are hopefully going to be on point, and I'm going to make some good headway into this route, and I'm confident. Got to be confident. I don't think it's misplaced confidence, but you've got to be confident. Dog's obviously guarding the boulder problem, not sure from who or what. It's a lonely little spot here, but in a nice way, super peaceful. Just the church bells ringing over in the village every now and then, a bit of traffic noise and dogs barking, but it's all good. You can see what I was doing there that's kind of the middle section. That's the other bit that I can't remember if I did it or not the other day. Certainly I didn't do it well if I did. The problem being that still, to get to that point that I was just on, you've got all that to do. So you are getting tired by that point. So I really want to know exactly what I'm going to do. And again, just trying it this time, didn't get it first time, more sequency than anything, just didn't quite get the body positions right. But it went quickly, thankfully. And like I say, the moves are steady. So now I've got a good sequence. It means when I get there, I can just execute the moves. No faffing around, no dithering, no time wasting, because that's the problem for me on this one. I've only got so much energy in my arms, so I'm trying to, as I've said already, get these tactics working in my favour. I actually know the first half quite well, because like I said, I did it the other day, almost doing it like ground up style. I did that a lot of times. I just wasted so much energy, which was just, it's such a schoolboy error. It was stupid really. One downside, I haven't got a knee pad. There's a tick mark here, which isn't mine, and I kind of wasn't sure what it's for, but I think it's for a knee bar, and it's not very comfortable without a knee pad. Don't get much from it, but I haven't got one, so just I'll have to get on with it. Another tactic you might have noticed, wearing the Sportiva shoes today instead of my normal Evolves. It's not because the Evolves are bad or anything, they're great shoes. They're just a little bit stiffer than those Solution comps. and the rock, it's quite smooth in places for the feet, so any tiny little bit of advantage. I'd love to wear my Evolve Zeniths actually, but I haven't even got them in Spain, so that's a non-starter. They're super soft. But any little advantage, and the Solution comps, they fit me well, and like I say, just feel a bit softer, give me a bit more confidence. It doesn't even matter if it's a realistic advantage, you know, sort of physically, mentally as much as anything. If it gives you that tiny bit of extra thought that you might stick it and you're more likely to stick it, then that's got to be an advantage, hasn't it? So again, all about stacking the odds in your favour. Now, what's next? Well, I've done all the moves now. I haven't done that first half today, so I'm going to get on the first half, try and bang that out, and then probably, I suppose, ready for a proper go. We'll see what happens. See there's so much dithering on that bit. I decided to do that bit just before, well, it's kind of the middle-ish section that I hadn't done this morning, because I realised looking at it I couldn't quite remember what to do, and look at me on it, there was so much dithering, wasn't there, that I can't afford to do that when I have a proper go, because that would just waste so much energy. So that was a good choice, sensible brain on today, to have a quick go at that. And I nearly got it, but not quite. So I'm just going to do it once more to try and link that whole section, and then again mentally I'll know I can do that bit which I need to know for my own benefit. That was really good, happy with that one. Went much more smoothly, so kind of still in with a fighting chance. I think I still want to do that very first bit. So then I've done section to section, and I'll come back to the camera in a minute. So that was good. First go on the initial quarter, third if you like, that went down first go. The odd little hesitation, that's fine for that go. Starting to get it a bit more wired now. The key on a thing like this is to rest well. It's not like a couple of moves, you just keep trying and trying and trying, as much as you need rest on those as well. Because it is that kind of power endurance kind of problem, I've just been sat on the mats between goes even then, having good rests. to make sure while I'm learning it that my arms are as fresh as possible. Obviously, when I get on for the real go, my arms will not feel as fresh on each progressive section. So that's something to keep in mind sometimes. Sometimes it's worth doing things on tired arms. So if you come off, sometimes, rest for ages. And that's kind of good when you're getting to know the moves. But when you're really trying to get close to your proper goes, then it can be worth, if you fall off, sort of pulling straight back on or just having a bit less rest, just so you're, a bit mentally again prepared for what it will actually feel like. But now I've done those sections, I'm going to go and sit in the sun, have a bit of a rest, enjoy the view, have something to eat, have something to drink, make sure I keep hydrated and fueled, super important. And then time to give it a proper burn, I think. You might notice I'm a bit out of breath after that. I'm psyched, I'm really happy with that, especially on the first go. I'll get my breath back, go into the sun, have a quick debrief chat, and I'm just going to lie down for a minute. I'm really happy to get that done. I did feel pretty down on myself after my visit the other day, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But I'm always trying to think, why I didn't perform how I wanted to perform. And as I alluded to earlier in the video, tactics, and that's something that's let me down on this trip in general, actually. I've been in Spain for just over 2 months now, and I've ticked some good stuff, don't get me wrong, and I'm really happy. I've had an ace time. I haven't quite performed how I wanted to perform, although I have got some time left to redeem myself. And it does boil down to tactics. My tactics just haven't been on point. So by kind of coming here today and almost over exaggerating the process slightly for the camera, it's worked really well, and that's what I need to do. Even just before the route, little things like actually, I walked the whole route, which obviously you can't always do on a actual roped route, but running through it in your head, brushing everything when it needs to be brushed. I put some tick marks on things, but then just sitting at the bottom or the end of this traverse and, you know, visualizing those moves and stuff, that's what I haven't done enough of. And it's really silly because I know all this stuff, but I just haven't been really that good at it this trip for various reasons, you know, some of which I know, others just been lazy, I suppose. But I'm really happy it's worked well, and it sets me up for another, you know, the last couple of weeks of the trip here. I am very analytical about my climbing, and it can pay dividends. Some people are good at analysing themselves, others need like a second pair of eyes. You know, that's where coaching can be great, because we can focus on plus points and negative points but miss things entirely altogether. And sometimes a mate you climb with can show you that, other times a coach can. And videoing stuff as well, actually, and watching things back. Did you move well? Did you not move well? Whilst I am happy with that performance, I didn't climb it perfectly. There's a few wrong hand moves. I'm okay with that because I haven't worked it to death, but I definitely could have climbed it better. And I think I'm actually going to go and give it another go once my forearms have recovered a bit, because it is a draining little problem, that one. I think the hardest move is actually like a rollover thing right at the very end before you go up to finish. That's quite draining actually when you're already a bit tired. So I think, is it 7A, font 7A? Yeah, probably, but I still think a sport grade actually of 7C, ballpark 7C anyway, something like that is probably more accurate. I hope the video's been interesting, slightly different one to normal, I know, but you know, I hope it's been useful, and actually it's been useful for me to come and break this process down and get a tick that I'm quite happy with. Fire away with questions and comments in the, you know, the box below. It's all good. Happy to answer any questions and stuff as always. Click the like button, smash the subscribe button, follow us on Insta, Facebook, use the buy me a coffee link. Massively appreciative, as always, of course. As always though, thanks very much for watching. More videos coming up very soon.